Welcombe Community Radio in the heart of Shakespeare country, for the community, by the community, in the community.
Nice.
There's so much going on around me. Sometimes I think that it is all about me. Then I look around and see what's in front of me. It's you and me. We help others in need.
It's Friday afternoon. It's 4:00. Get your cup of tea, put your feet up, because it's Connecting the Dots with Penny and Friends. Hi, this is Penny, and I'm sitting in the lounge of Malcolm and Anne McCulloch. And you may wonder why I'm here. I am here because they are raising monies to send shoeboxes full of Christmas presents and various other things out to Romania. And I thought it'd be a really nice idea to find out how the charity first started and how Malcolm and Anne got involved in it. So, good afternoon, Anne.
Hello.
And
good afternoon, everyone.
so where did this all... It's a charity called Amen, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yeah. Yes, it is. Yeah, it's called Amen. It's been going about 23, 24 years, since 1995.
Yeah.
And we got involved about 6 years ago.
Right. So, Malcolm, how did you get involved with it?
I've got a friend who is a trustee of the charity, and for quite a number of years he had suggested to us, would we like to get involved, especially at Christmas time and with the shoebox project. I had not said yes for quite a number of years, but I knew that Anne was very keen on doing it. And New Year's Eve, he asked again when we were down at a party, and I said, yes, we'll do that next year. So 2013 became the first year that we were involved.
And I believed you actually went out to Romania in 2014.
Yeah, that's correct. So the first time the two of us went out was December 2014. The shoeboxes went out ahead of us on a lorry, and obviously we flew out. So yeah, that was a bit of an experience for both of us, having never been in a country like that before or seen poverty to that extent.
So whereabouts did you go in Romania, and what was it like?
So we flew to a very small airport called Tagis, which is about an hour from Sighișoara. So that was the main place we were in. And then we visited the Romanian gypsy villages around there. We also visited a couple of children's homes as well whilst we were there.
So Malcolm, what was it like over there?
I think it was a culture shock. Us coming from obviously not really having been involved with that type of work before. Yes, you find homeless and you find poverty and need in lots of places, but until you kind of personally make that decision to get involved and put yourself in that position, you go out there and we're kind of seeing what you would term dwellings. So obviously people, it's their family home, but to us in the UK, it's kind of a room with lots of beds in it, with maybe a stove in the centre of the dwelling, and that's kind of it. It's the middle of winter. We've been there when the temperature's been at night as low as -20.
That is cold.
It is.
Yeah.
And they're not wearing the clothing that we would wear. We're going in wrapped up in our kind of ski jackets, if you like. But some of the kids you see running around outside just in kind of t-shirts, and whenever we're used to seeing and living comfortable lives, just to see people without anything, and to understand that whenever we take a shoebox into the household, that basically is the only gift they're going to get that Christmas. It kind of gets you and really motivates you to want to do more, which is why we did it 1 year, but we then have kind of continued to do it and are wanting to continue to kind of support that work and get as involved as we can.
So the places that you went, is this what it's like mostly across Romania? Or, I mean, I know that in the 80s it was quite shocking. After the Cold War stopped. Oh, the Cold. See, I stopped it now. Yes, I know it was pretty grim when the communist regime fell in Europe, and people started going over there and seeing some of the poverty over there. But it sounds as if that is still going.
I think it depends where you visit. Our charity, Amen, supports kind of people living locally in developing countries. So obviously by the definition, that is people in need, whether it's relieving poverty, whether it's working with young people, whether it's training, education, whatever they get involved with, it is obviously in areas of need. And so, yeah, a lot of the places that we visit were kind of the Roma community. And I wouldn't want to get into the politics of Romania, but I think ultimately they're not treated as everyone else is. They do tend to be quite isolated. I remember, hearing, I think something like the first time we visited, I think Romania had something like the 4th highest abortion rate in the world. And one of the ladies that we support, Mia, she looks after a charity called Casa Viepse, which is House of Life. And so basically she will have single mothers coming in. We will take out obviously shoe boxes, but also some specialist stuff for them, just for the babies, clothing, that type of thing. And we tend to get involved with food parcels and stuff like that. So it's not just the shoe boxes really. When we're there for a week, we make ourselves available to do whatever helps.
So shoe boxes. Why shoe boxes?
I think it's a concept that quite a few charities have taken up. Certainly been there for longer than Amen's dealt with shoe boxes. I think a lot of charities, I remember Smarten's Purse, or for boy girl of a certain age. Our shoe boxes are a little bit different. They're family shoe boxes, so it's something for the children and the parents. And as I say, it really is the kind of one gift that a lot of these households receive.
I think I suppose there's also the logistics of it. The shoe boxes actually stack well and pack well, don't they? So what would you put in a typical shoe box for a family of 5 or 6?
So we'd always try and put in something for the parents. So there is a leaflet.
Yep.
And so it would be things like, obviously, toothbrush, toothpaste, deodorant, tissues, things for the kids. And you've also got to think sort of girls and boys. So maybe like hair clips and stuff like that for the girls. For the boys, like toy cars.
Little things that from what you say, wouldn't actually have themselves.
Yeah, and also that they would enjoy having as well. I can remember one mum saying it's so nice just to have a packet of pocket tissues. Just the things we take for granted.
Yeah, makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And that was one mum who, from memory, had been a child and received a shoebox 6-7 years before, and then she was actually helping to walk around the village with us and distribute the shoe boxes to the families. And as I say, it's just in my workplace, I work at the NFU, and last year someone that I work with and looking at the advertising on the Mutual Net basically said and put a posting on there that basically said, I was a young girl, I was brought up in Bulgaria. The gift of a shoebox made me so kind of feel so loved. And her words really helped my workplace to actually double the support and double the number of shoeboxes that they gave us last year. They ended up giving us 160 filled shoeboxes last year. And it was really Camilla's kind of witness, if you like, of the impact of receiving a shoebox. It's that personal touch, a personal involvement that just means so much.
So in fact, So is it too late to give shoeboxes now for people that I can talk to on Friday?
No, it's not too late at all. We're just really in the middle of kind of advertising the work. We've got leaflets which really show you what you can put in a shoebox. We're quite happy to send those leaflets out. We've got pre-printed or able to email it to you. But in terms of dates, really, we're asking to try to get everything back by the 8th of November because we then have to prepare those shoeboxes and pack them up and put them together to then go on a lorry a week later that eventually they go out from down south in Worthing to Romania in a lorry in early December, and then a team from the UK will actually go out and work with our local partners in Romania to distribute those shoeboxes for a week in the middle of December.
So does the charity support people in Romania at any other time?
So in Romania, we've got about 5 or 6 different partners working out there. Oh, so, for example, there's a guy called Dave. So in the summertime, he would be helping to build houses for some of the Romanian gypsy villages. That's what he is by trade, a builder. Yeah. So that's what he will do. And there are other partners involved in different projects. The shoeboxes were very much in December time. Type stuff. Obviously, there is other aid taken out as well. For example, last year there was a lorry that went out in September time. Obviously, there wasn't shoeboxes on it, but it had a lot of other stuff on it. Like as Malcolm said, the organisation supporting singles mums. So there was a lot of stuff that went out on there for like children's clothes, etc. like that. And
then actually in the last week we've had some heartbreaking news. One of the villages that was visited, and Anne was actually out with the team last Christmas. Basically they had a fire in that village last week, and some houses were destroyed, and really tragically one person lost their life, and a couple of partners of Amen, Tish and Jessica, they basically live with their family in that local community, and there was actually a building purchased through the charity a couple of years ago, and that has currently been used basically to give accommodation, food and shelter, and we will be visiting that village again with shoeboxes this year.
Do you wrap the presents up inside the shoeboxes? Or I notice that the shoeboxes you've got here have got lovely Christmas paper on it, different types. Do you wrap the individual things up?
The very first year that we came back and had an article published in I think it was the Stratford Herald that year, we were contacted by a lady who lives in Evesham, and she said, I provide this service for charities. I will wrap your shoeboxes.
Wow.
So each year after that, this year we basically picked up 200 pre-wrapped shoeboxes. Now obviously she provides the service to charities, and when I visited her a couple of years ago, I said, how many are you doing this year, Barbara? She was doing 12,000. I said to her, how many people help you with this, Barbara? No one, just me. So basically over the course of a year, she will get donations of Christmas wrapping paper. She will order in some flat pack kind of boxes. She will get some kind of shoe boxes, and she will put them together. She will wrap the lid in the box separate. She will work it such that a lot of times she can actually fit a slightly smaller shoe box inside a large one. So when I take the car across to her, I can collect what looks like 100 boxes, but it's actually 200 because there's one inside. And so she does that for us. And it is such a help when you're advertising the work. You take them in and say, here's some leaflets and here's some shoe boxes, please take them and fill them. We've used all those pre-wrapped shoe boxes. They've all been passed out this year, so we're obviously waiting expectantly and getting those 200 back. But basically, take a shoe box, one from home, call into one of the shoe shops in Stratford, fill it, and unlike a lot of charities where you have to, if you're doing the wrapping yourself, you have to wrap the lid and the box separate. You can actually wrap it all in one because they're all going to Romania. And as long as you stick the leaflet on the outside of the box, which shows the contents list, there's no issue with customs or anything like that. So we can still take sweets and items like that in the shoe boxes, whereas some charities can't do that anymore. I noticed one charity this year said no sweets and no toothpaste, whereas we will still be able to take things like that because they're all going to Romania, etc. So yeah, it's quite simple.
I'm glad you've said that because I was thinking about customs. So so you haven't got the 100 mils thing issue. I wonder why the sweets. Yes.
I think that's because some charities send them all over the world. I guess in some countries there is now some type of restriction to do with toothpaste and sweets.
Yeah.
So as long as you put your sweets in the box, as long as they've kind of got a few months shelf life, that's fine for going to Romania.
Right, okay. So if from this interview anybody wants to do either donate money or they can gather the items for a shoebox or go and get a shoebox and fill the shoebox, what should they do with it?
You can phone us 01789 294 908. You can email us. We'll obviously get, I think, some details put on the radio website, but the email address is McCulloch, MCCULLOCHANNE_MALC @yahoo.co.uk. Thank you.
That's great. So what can you see the future of this?
Well, at the moment, obviously, we've been involved in 6 years. We've seen the number of shoeboxes sent out from Stratford area grown. The number of the shoeboxes that the charity are taking out has also grown. I mean, in some respects, it would be good to be able to send them out to the other countries because they are involved in projects in India and Africa as well. But obviously, it's resources. As with anything, is money, etc. So I think the focus at the moment is their shoeboxes in Romania.
So did you see a difference when you went out last year, which is what, 17 wasn't that? No, 18. To when you first went out?
Probably no real difference apart from visiting a couple of different places. And as Malcolm's already mentioned, one of the villages I visited was probably the poorest I've ever seen, where you've got the dwellings by the river, everything, rubbish, etc., all ends up in the river, and they have nothing. Whereas some of them look more like a village setting with sort of mud tracks for roads.
Do they have electricity and sanitation?
Sanitation would be very poor. Although it's all Europe, if we were to go and live in one of those villages, we would probably end up seriously ill. Hence, we don't stay in the villages when we go out there, obviously. It varies from village to village how. I mean, a lot of the partners will live in very basic houses, but they do have proper sanitation. Yeah.
So, and what's the food like out there?
Initially, a lot cheaper than the UK.
No comment.
No comment, again, if you're living in the village, it's very much a one pot on a sort of stove, maybe even like a open fire or something, all goes in one pot.
What we did see in a few of the villages, remember it's December, it's Christmas time, they were actually killing the pig that had been in the backyard and hanging that up, cutting the fat off it. You know, it wouldn't take you to be too squeamish to kind of look round. I think once we even got offered a little bit of pig fat, which we politely refused.
Because it was seen as a delicacy and obviously and I mean, we used to do that over here. And obviously where you come from as well, but it's a bit rarer now in yes, yeah. So When are you going out again, Anne?
At the moment, we don't have any plans to go out this year because of work commitments and stuff. Yeah. What we have both said is we would like to go out at another time of the year and just see some of the projects that they're involved. Yeah. The other partners are involved in, and also see Romania at a different time of the year. Yeah. Because the times we've been out, it's been December, it's been snowy, it's been cold, etc. Yeah. Yeah.
And we also have a member of our church who actually took humanitarian aid out to Eastern Europe, to the Ukraine and Romania for over 25 years. Before communism fell, Pete was taking it out. And quite a few people from our church have actually visited Pete out in a slightly different part of Romania. But Romania is a vast country. It's larger than the UK. But Pete actually works very close to Tish and Jessica, who last year became Amen partners. So it's great that the way things work together like that. Yes. And so, we can see one person, but we can actually see more than one person whenever we go out.
I think this only goes to prove we don't hear an awful lot of good things happening in the media or on the television, anywhere. But there are so many good people around, and you just talk. I mean, that lady who does all the boxes for you. I mean, one person on her own doing her bit to help other people, and that's really what community is, isn't it? And you guys doing what you're doing to help other people as well. Without community and without people doing things for other people, we don't exist, really, do we?
Yeah, quite a good example of that is really over the 6 years that we've done this work. It's kind of building those relationships within Stratford and getting to know people. Our next door neighbour takes the shoeboxes to our Slimming World group. We probably get 20 to 30 each year from that. Anne takes it into her WI. We've got another friend who takes it to her WI. One of the local primary schools has supported us quite a bit. I'd say my workplace at NFU. So there are lots of groups. Rotary got involved last year, and again are getting involved this year. Yeah. So lots of groups supporting us, but as well as groups, it's great to have those individual boxes. And again, it's by being able to, at the end of the shoebox journey, it's being able to share back photographs and showing where those shoeboxes actually go. That it's great to give that feedback to everyone that supports us, and it helps then to encourage them and motivate us to do it again the following year. Yeah.
Thank you both very much. I would really like to have an update of how it's gone and how many of you sent out, and we'll put it up on our website, and hopefully if we get we'll point people in your direction. It's such a worthwhile thing to do for people, and all I can say is thank you very much to both of you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you everyone. Thank you. Hope you've enjoyed hearing our story.
Bye. Welcombe Community Radio, in the heart of Shakespeare country, for the community, by the community, in the community.
Nice.